you to the Trek City. I'm Paul.
I'm Rose.
I'm Nikki.
And what is this?
This is To Your Eternity, episode number. Yeah. Almost to double digits. Look at that. Guys, so last time we left off, Fushi is conscious.
Yes.
Gets himself out.
Yes. And what's his name? Bunshin is on the guillotine.
Guillotine.
Yeah.
Guillotine. Is it guillotine, boys?
Guillotine.
Guillotine or guillotine?
Guillotine.
Guillotine. Okay.
I think that's the proper-ish pronunciation, but a guillotine is like what the Americans say, no?
That's gelatine.
But yeah, so we were hoping that something would happen because of where they cut the show there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have high hopes.
Yeah, I'm really wondering whether Banshin is alive or dead, because I can see the story, how the story would continue either way.
Yeah.
But Banshin's still in play.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I think an ironic punishment would be that he dies there and then he has to wait till someone else figures out that Fushi can revive people.
Yes.
And that kind of to make him pay for what he did.
Yes, for not telling him.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
And also the big question that if Fushi turns into Bunshin,
Will he be able to see?
yes.
Will he see the sea?
Will he suddenly see things? Things that he didn't see before?
Me too.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So maybe we'll figure that out in this episode, guys. Remember to hit the like button, remember to hit the subscribe button. Also check out the Patreon in the description to see these episodes a whole week early, as well as the uncut version of these episodes. And also check out the description to see the link to our merch store. And we'll get right into the show. Discussion!
Alright, so pretty much everything worked out.
Yeah.
To the best of its ability.
Yes,
They
basically.
think Chavo's dead. That he's just a little kid. They're not gonna go looking for him, so he can just be himself in a different kingdom.
Yes.
Iris is a
Totally different.
hometown hero, but she's everybody thinks she was a man, fat man. Now she's skinny woman.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna say anything.
No.
True. And Bon was the most flamboyant man on the planet. So.
Yes, and you just have to shave and walk differently. And yes. Good.
A regular human.
Does he still have the tattoos?
He
or
does.
Whatever? He does still have them on
Yeah.
his face. I didn't know.
Oh,
It's
Where
not.
is that
It's a little bit. It's different somehow, but it's still there.
Oh,
I
didn't
don't
even
know
see
what
it.
those were.
Or it could just
Could
be
be
his
face.
eyelashes, because his eyes kind of slant down, and his eyelashes go this way, so it could have just been his eyelashes.
Oh, I could have sworn there was makeup. But alright, okay. Yeah, so like in the very beginning, we get to fake out that he's dead and everyone's sleeping, and we learn later he's figured out how to make the best possible sleeping potion.
Yes.
Sprinkling on people.
Yes.
And all of the whole town is just like, we just decided to go to sleep at the same time. It's fine.
Yeah, what was the story for
I'm
them?
sure that it has nothing to do with the dead body.
Cyrilla is he just wants to win.
Yeah.
And he's like, everyone is asleep for some random reason. No
It's
problem.
fine. The
This
body's
guy's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
I woke up first, I won.
Basically.
Yeah.
I
was really hoping we'd get the reveal of the body and the ability to make new life or whatever. And not make new life, you know what I mean? They'll revive people. But no, I guess we're not going to get that for some time.
Yeah.
But so he does the duping of the body. He makes them experience a little bit of grief. You know, nothing hurts like a little bit of grief. So, yeah. And they're back.
Yes. So all the important people knows the peoples are alive.
Yeah.
Families know. And Fushi didn't realize, he's like, I'm not smart. Figures out an amazing plan. I mean, he still had Kohaku a little help to kind of hint him along in the right direction. Check Tonari's thing.
Well,
maybe there's something in there.
For some reason, that was what he thought. Maybe this situation, Tonari wrote about it.
Yeah.
This specific one.
But it wasn't even that. It was just the sleeping potion idea.
Yeah.
So
But it's just the
kinda
way
went
he
with
said it was really like, what would possess
Tonari
you
do.
to think that
Yeah.
she thought this far ahead?
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then Kohaku, speaking of, he's despondent, disbanded the Guardians, and was cutting his arm off, if possible.
Yeah, he was trying to stab the knocker directly, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's missed a couple
missed.
of times. That's what he said.
Yeah. That's why he was feeling pain, and what's his name? Fushi was sensing it.
I mean, when Kohaku lays it out there, I was like, wow, yeah, this has been a rough week for you. Like everything you believe is wrong. You can never get with Fushi. I don't get the progeny part. I mean, there's other human beings.
But I'm wondering if it is the fact that he's
a male,
not a woman who can like carry the baby.
So
and
the
that's what
only
we're theorizing will work.
and maybe the only the last resort is to have a child with Fushi because that was the goal.
Yeah.
Right. So if he doesn't, then that's the end of the Guardians. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So he just tells him. Fushi tells him like he can still be of use. Come on and help. And Hokage's like, I got literally nothing better to do. So he just comes along.
Yeah.
I hope we get a little bit more character building for him because he's, despite this whole disbanding the Guardians, I feel like the Guardians got nerfed a lot. Maybe it's just perspective. Because before, maybe the Guardians were never really that big of a threat. It's just Hayase herself was like the world's deadliest ninja. And the group was always just 5 dudes following her around.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the Church of Bennett really supplanted that position of this force that's always there, always has people in every spot.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I don't really like it that much because I feel like this is a Piccolo situation where once the bad guy swaps sides, someone's weaker.
Yeah. I just feel that way because we used to be afraid of the Guardians, but then I think it was over the centuries when they were visiting him, they just became kind of docile side characters. Yeah, they didn't seem scary anymore,
which is weird because that whole time they were getting like supporters in cities.
They were growing.
Like, they're building like little havens all over the place.
Yeah,
they have hundreds of thousands of people who are like supporters
and helping to fight knockers. Yeah, defeating them in minutes apparently. Yeah. So. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
I feel like truly they should be as powerful as the Church of Bennett. Because we know the knockers are out there. Everybody who's encountered them is like, these are like evil demonic forces. And Fuji did like a parade through several towns doing miracles. Yeah. I feel like there should be a huge amount of guardians.
Yeah.
But
it could be that the villages that we're going through were not necessarily places you could gather able-bodied people. It was more like down and out villages that were just
gathering beekeepers.
Yeah, so it really was just believers that were gathering, not necessarily people who could, because it was a lot of them. They were having to help. They were poor, sickly, crippled, and they were trying to help them. Yeah. So.
Well, I guess next episode they get kind of a day of reckoning with Church of Bennett, so perhaps there's going to be some kind of weird twist there. Yeah. But I mean, they straight sold into the definitely a demon. There's other demonic forces that's trying to free Fushi. So like, how are you gonna spin this? Yeah. Like you really sold it in on this.
Yeah. Maybe just Fushi coming back and be like, but he has to descend in like a ball of light through through the heavens, through the clouds. Mm-hmm. Be like, well, what's up? I'm here to save you. God sent me back. Can't get rid of me that quickly.
You know what he could do? What? He flies up in the sky as Lingard, right? Turns into Fushi and just falls, and it's like rains molten lava. And it's like his wings, like, I'm here.
That would be amazing.
Oh my goodness. Also in this episode, we speak to a knocker. Knocker is communicating.
Knocker can speak. And I think it literally did what Fushi voiced it, Did it learn to speak because I told it to? It did. It learned to write.
That's
scary.
Get rid of this thing, man.
Scary. Oh, no.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying now we know its story.
Yeah. It's like we are trying to save people from living.
Yeah. So they are 5. They are souls. They are spirits of some sort. And they feel like the people in the flesh that the master made are suffering. They're trapped, but they're not. They're mortal. They're not immortal. But Fushi is immortal, and maybe they're afraid. Oh, if he made Fushi, he'll make more immortals. I don't get it because their logic doesn't track. Is what I'm trying to say. They're saying making these people in these bodies, they're trapped in these bodies, but they will leave it eventually.
I think the point is just like sending people to like prison sentences.
Prison, okay.
Whereas Fushi's like the ultimate spite against that, where he's immortal, he will always feel the suffering. Whereas regular mortals, they'll feel suffering for a little while, but Fushi is the apex creation of the master. Which brings it back to when the master said they're failures of life. I think perhaps they directly rejected becoming flesh or something like that. And over time, we've seen the numbers increase, and I'm wondering if is there some correlation between the people the knockers kill? Is there something like do you have a chance to become a knocker or something?
Maybe that would make sense.
Why is there suddenly more and more and more?
That makes sense. And I was thinking, failure of life could also be they were the first experiment to create humans, and like you said, they rejected their shells. And they're like, this isn't fun. I prefer being a Phi, just existing. And they see him make a different Phi that was maybe didn't know it was Phi until it became what it was in the flesh, because he did say once you enter the flesh, you become who you are changes based on the vessel. Right. So maybe that was the new version of the Phi, where they are not conscious or able to make decisions outside of a fleshy body. Versus the first type that he made, they were conscious from the start, and so they could rebel.
Yeah, could be something like that. It was interesting to see him just like don't kill me, and then tell Fushi where they're gonna attack next. It makes me feel like this one in particular is genuinely trying to be helpful in order to make an argument for itself. I don't know if it's trying to make an argument for the knockers.
Yeah, I agree. Because it wouldn't have told on its people unless it's a trap to get Fushi in there.
It's like I'm thinking of it like the Borg, right? You know the Borg. I don't think you know the Borg from Star Trek and
Next Generation.
There's the Borg, and they are a hive mind androids, basically, or cyborgs rather, because they were people, and then the Borg assimilate them, make them all robot parts, and then they become part of the collective. Their brain becomes hive mindy. But it has been shown that like a Borg can slightly start to think for itself. And I think that's kind of what's happening with this knocker, is while it's still part of the hive mind, and it's still part of the collective, it's still kind of developing an individuality here.
Yeah, because this is a new thing, just living and being passed down in a human.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's been said that it feels conflicted about using the Guardians to fight against the knockers.
Yeah. Well, that part makes sense. It's fighting its own people.
Yeah, but it's the fact that it can feel conflicted at all.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's supposedly making a plan, trying to carry out a plan, and it's maybe doing it on its own, like a rogue spy or something. Yeah. Rogue double triple agent.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking that perhaps... So in the very beginning, Hayase told him you have to be really nice to Fushi and stuff like that to warm up to him to get close. And I keep thinking back to that, thinking... Is the knocker just doing this this is the true ultimate long game of you're playing against an immortal? The only way to beat him is to play it like it's a centuries long game. Is that what's happening here, and he's just slowly worming his way in, or is he truly learning how to be human? And what does it mean to be human? Because I think that's also the question that Bond brought up. Bond was like, if my friends could come back, I'd be very happy to bring them back. Why was that the wrong answer?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. He said, no, I did. When she asked me, you didn't like the answer. He said, no, I did like the answer.
He said he likes it?
He liked the answer.
But why would that stop him? But why would that stop him from giving him the gift he was going to give him? He wasn't going to give it to him until the conversation.
Right, until he said that was the right answer. I don't know.
I feel like a part of it wraps to the whole fleshy prison thing. And Fushi maybe still doesn't understand the weight of the good side of life. Like maybe he sees people living and dying as a bad thing, and Bond wants him to understand that there's good things to having an ending, maybe.
And not just like shortcutting them, killing them, just putting them straight over. Yeah. I mean, Fushi has shown that he wants them to like continue living, like that whole in the middle of living conversation for a couple episodes ago.
Right.
He wants them to continue living so they can die satisfied.
Right.
But I do feel like he would be confused if he realizes he has the power to make them immortal, and B, that there is now this other force who are like, no, the other side is happier. They would be happier over there. So he would be like, no, I shouldn't bring them back. I should never bring anybody back. In fact, maybe I should join the knockers and kill everybody.
Yeah. I think what it would come down to is if Banshin would explain that he can speak to the ghosts and just talk to them. Do you want to be brought back? Like even if Fushi doesn't hear the conversation, like, would you want me to tell him that he can do this, or would you rather he continue and meet other people and do other things and not dwell on the past? Like, what would they like? Because it would be terrible if he makes their body and their soul is just sucked into the body. I don't know how it works, or something like that, and they're just suddenly alive again and they don't want to be alive again. For example, Gugu, Reen. Oh no, he can turn into Reen. No, but Reen is gone. Reen's spirit is gone. Bring Gugu back. Gugu was in love with Reen. He can't ever be with her.
Although he hasn't been with her for like all these years. Maybe he's just fine now.
He's probably fine. Yeah, I just feel like it just makes me think of like a Captain America, like frozen over time, who comes back in a new century.
Yeah.
It's a weird acclimation moment time. So I just wonder like how it would be, like what they would think. I just wonder if they might have certain emotions about it.
Yeah, probably. I would assume so. The only reason why I'm like less
worried,
he'll be fine. And the reason why I'm like he'll be fine is because he's been seeing it. He's been just watching the world. Unlike Captain America, he got Control X, Control pasted over here.
That's true.
The thing is, I think that's what would happen. I feel like they don't have the memories if they come back because of the girl. The redheaded girl didn't say anything about the other side, and I feel like you would immediately say something about that.
Yeah.
And also, for the paradise argument, I think the knockers might be right. On the other side, just better. Because it's never been shown as anything judgmental. It's just you're dead, and you go wherever you want.
Yeah.
You can pass on, you can stay, just you can stay here. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering to what extent is the master an interloper? Like, is he the one who made the earth? Or is he just a being that was along for the ride where something else made the earth? Is he actually... I mean, the way the knockers say it, it's like he did make the humans. So, does he just like, you, spirit, grab, make body? Is he actually imprisoning people in bodies that this is not something that existed before? But if you look at it from the perspective of there was nothing on the earth, and he just started grabbing Phi and making bodies, it's kind of like imprisoning.
It would be, yeah, like these Phi just existed on their own, and then you're just kind of making them live a life they don't want to. That would make sense. So maybe what that could also mean, for more of the story of the Phi, maybe the Phi just exist or were created at some point, and when they do go into a flesh, they start over.
Yeah.
So then maybe Phi that were friends lost friends to this world, and they just changed.
Yeah, because of the whole Phi changing in the vessel kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
I would get a grudge from that.
Same.
If you're just yoinking your friends and they can't remember you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting.
The only thing that makes me maybe question that train of logic is the master was like they were a failure of life, as in this group. So unless it's the Phi that have this fleshy thing, maybe just those are the failure of life. So they made this fleshy thing, or were in this fleshy thing, and they just those are the knockers. But the Phi themselves might not be. Maybe they're also conspiring, but they're not like the ones on the earth that he would call the failure of life. Yeah,
I'm thinking like there was just once Phi. Master started taking Phi and making people. A bunch of Phi didn't like that and to resist, they turned themselves into knockers, which cannot be made into life. And thus they're a failure of life, but really they're rejecting life.
Yeah.
And the master wants to get rid of them so that their Phi will be released so they can put them back into bodies.
Quite possible.
Yeah, but then it doesn't make sense for them to, unless they were in the process of being made into a human and they froze it at this place, because they're currently stuck in a fleshy prison. They're existing forever here as immortal balls of flesh, whereas if they were killed by Fushi, they would go back to wherever they came from, I would think,
unless they don't have an afterlife because they became knockers, or it's like a holy mission for them where they swap over to these knockers to prevent anyone else from becoming human. Or living rather.
Yeah. I'm very interested. I'm so happy we got some lore drop here. This is great.
Yeah. Also, the ending splash screen is Iris and Bond holding hands watching fireworks.
Oh, that's so cute. Speaking of Bond and Iris, the ship just quietly sailing at the tea time table. It was wonderful.
That was great.
It's like, by the way, the handkerchief. Could I see it? Not acknowledging it at all. Well, I guess he can't call her Toto because Toto's supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
And it's also supposed to be the first time they're meeting. So just casually, can I see the handkerchief? What about the other one that was smothered in poop? Give it to me.
Yeah, what was with his tirade?
I think it was because she wasn't the perfect girl he had imagined her to be for all those years.
And he just had a Bonshin moment, so that's all.
Yeah.
I really don't think it was anything deep.
Yeah.
That's how Chow's response.
Yes, like,
Just standing
it's
there.
like, oh shit.
That's so funny. Yeah.
What was that?
So they're together now, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is also one of those places that makes me really wish we took a zoomed out look at the world. Which we do have a zoomed out look at the world because we're seeing everything through Fushi's eyes, and there's a lot of things he just doesn't care about because he's kind of above it.
Yeah.
But I really wish we could see to what extent does the Church of Bennett have influence. Because Uralis, from what it seemed like, they've got their stuff.
Yeah.
You can't just come in and take the prince if you want.
Right.
So a part of me is like, so what if they think he came back from the dead? It's your kingdom.
He's in there, yeah.
Everyone in here will fight to defend you.
Yeah.
The Church of Bennett has shown no military capability. The only capability they have is convincing the leader of the city to hold you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true.
So I'm just like, is there a reason to be afraid here, or is this just Fushi not understanding and trying to make sure there's no more conflict?
I think it comes down to maybe the idea that Fushi wanted to, or they wanted to travel with Fushi or something like that. Like maybe if he stayed as Bonshin, then he'd have a chance of being king again, and then, you know, why aren't you helping Fushi, and the whole story would continue of that, and they're kind of just trying to end that story.
That makes sense.
You know? I don't know, just a thought.
The problem is he's leaving the castle to come help Fushi again.
Yeah, that's what I was like, oh great, because he didn't die the first time, we're gonna try again.
We're gonna try and kill him again.
It's kind of like, I don't want to say a waste, but it feels kind of odd to go back out after you just got rescued and the whole plan was live happily ever after in secret. If you're going to come back out anyway, I guess you could say by not being Bonshin, there's not as big a target on his back because the people who are with Bennett would jump you. We have seen like a couple fanatics, like you remember the time they kicked into the library?
Yeah.
But he's still putting himself in harm's way, and I don't know how they can resolve this story at this point happily.
Yeah.
Because the happiness was, after all that, he gets to be with Aris and they leave. How does he now leave in an emotional way without there being damage?
In a way where Fushi brings him back to life.
Yeah. I think that's what it might be coming to. Yeah.
I like how we keep taking bets on who's gonna die first.
Who's gonna die? Who's gonna get brought back?
We got rickrolled with Bond the first time, but will there be a second chance? You know.
I think it has to be Bonshin.
Yeah.
Second chance ticket.
And then he just has to wait till he turns into him so he can tell him what he can do. Yeah. At this point, I want him to be punished.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Right.
I did just remember that Fushi has no idea that he can see spirits, because when he said he can speak spirits, only Iris was there and Chabo.
Yeah, and also when Fushi was like, "Who you talking to?" It's like, "Oh, it's just my chronic illness."
Chronic. What the hell? Yeah.
Explain yourself, please. But yeah. Other than that, I'm so happy we have a whole happy family. Like I didn't. For once, usually I'm able to call these things. For once, I didn't see it coming. For just the whole family just to happen.
And
just as soon as they went to Chabo, I was like, wait.
Yeah. No, as soon as Iris was like wheel, I was like, okay, I dig it. But also at the end there, we see Fushi. I don't know. Fushi comes up with an idea of what he's gonna do to deal with the Church of Bennett area. He says now he's not gonna hold back, and you guys aren't thinking what I'm thinking.
Okay.
No, because when I said, it sounded like you guys understood something different than I did.
It felt like it, but I feel like we should all be on the same page. Like I think what I'm thinking is just he's just gonna go all out killing the knockers, which I don't know if you've ever seen him not before, but I feel like that's the only conclusion, is that he's just gonna destroy, rip and tear, like hunt them down.
Oh, I feel he's not holding back because this is Church of Bennett Town, but that would be kind of evil for Fushi. At the same time, it could be that he's kind of tainted in his thoughts by what the knocker has said. So that's why I'm wondering, like, maybe we'll get clear on what his actual conclusions are from all this.
My understanding was that maybe because of what he learned about the knockers and what they say about basically the afterlife, he's like, okay, so if I kill the knockers, it's good, but also if I accidentally kill somebody else, not bad. So I can just go ahead.
Okay, that's a good compromise between the two of us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's all I have.
Same.
Other than Pura and Horse is on the way.
Oh yes, Pure, and we were all like, what's that word for like you thought it was one? Not Rickroll. There's another one.
Red herring.
Yeah, it's a red herring. What's his name? Was a red herring the whole time.
Is
It was
Pira
the horse.
Bunchin or is Pira and the horse? It's definitely the horse.
It's
now.
definitely the horse.
Definitely the
Gotta be
horse.
the
So the horse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why did the master do that?
Yeah, it's like you want to be something useful.
Here, be a horse.
All these years, I stopped thinking. Let me think. What would be the best thing? I've got it. A horse.
A horse. I just realized, has Fushi never been bitten by a mosquito or anything?
There are no insects in this world.
There is no insects in this world. Huh.
Yeah.
We could
It's
have gotten
paradise.
we could have gotten the flying ability much quicker.
Yeah.
It's OP.
It is okay.
Yes, it's
we
true.
got a whole Liggard and everything. But yeah, maybe we'll see more of Liggard in the next episode. Guys, remember to hit the like button, remember to hit the subscribe button. Also check out the Patreon in the description to see these episodes a whole week early, as well as the uncut version of these episodes, and also check out the description to see the link to our merch store. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye! See you in the city. Oh, bye.
Special thanks to our patrons: Cubebook, Contos, Alfredo Gymnast, Jamal Wilson, and Jesse Gallimore.